I am Eric and welcome. These are the 10 things in Islam that most Muslims don't even know about, but they definitely should. So thank you guys so much for joining us as we dive in through this. So this will be very interactive with you guys. I will have active polls going on, just asking you the simple question before the live stream. Did you know about number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10? And yes, there is even a bonus one that I snuck in there because as I was going through this, I was like, I really want to include this anyway. So I decided to go ahead and do it. So yes, technically I have 11, but we'll see how many you get. And I'll give you the bonus one as a bonus point. Let's see if you guys can get all of it. So make sure to keep track of your score, even beyond just voting in the poll, because afterwards I will ask you guys for your total score in the chat. Now, Muslims, any Muslims who are in the chat, be aware that I am going to open up the stream after we are done with number 11. I'm going to open it up for any callers who want to come in and refute me on one of these topics. So we can go ahead and dive on into the sources and take a look at it. Just be prepared to actually go through the sources with me if you try to contradict me on these. So it's going to get interesting because I know that there are some Muslims who don't know anything about Islam, who know the bare basics, just what their imam has told them about Islam. But we're not looking at any specific imam on this. We're looking at the sources and does that align with what they actually say? And maybe that's not what they teach now, but their sources say otherwise, which is, of course, where we got to go with these things, right? So let's go ahead and begin here. Let me start up the first poll we have, which is number 1, which I haven't even said, so don't vote until I say it. Now, do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with the world so that we might educate some Muslims about what their religion actually teaches. So, number 1, the first one that we have on the list here. So, Muhammad tried to commit suicide. This is something that's not widely known among Muslims, but you can find this in Sahih al-Bukhari 6982, which as we're reading on through, it's a bit of a long one, but we'll go ahead and skip on to where it is relevant, which is down here talking about the mountain. It is just basically whenever the divine inspirations have paused, so also paused for a while, the prophet would become so sad as he have heard. So he would become sad. He'd go up to the top of the mountain, start heading on up there to throw himself off of the top of the mountain. So he'd head up there, and every time that he would, the angel Jibreel would suddenly show up and say, "Oh, Prophet Muhammad, don't worry about it, for you are the true Krizak's Haderach." Oh, wait, no, just Allah's messenger in truth, not the Krizak's Haderach. Sorry, that's another book. Interesting book, completely wrong on Islam. He completely missed it on there. But yes, this is the idea. Again, we look at Muhammad primarily because in Islam, he is the ideal. He is what every Muslim man is supposed to try to be like. He's the one that they're trying to measure against and try to, just like we would measure ourselves against Christ and know that we fall extremely short, they would say that Muhammad is the ideal, the perfect man. So in this case, you have the perfect man going up to a mountain to throw himself off the top of it. And it says, even after it would quiet his heart for a bit, but then whenever the period of the coming of the inspirations used to become long again, he would do as he did before. So in other words, he would go up there to throw himself off. So this is not just one time Muhammad tried to commit suicide. It's multiple times. Do remember that at the beginning, Muhammad thought that he was demon possessed, that there was something wrong with him, which I would utterly agree with. It seems that that would be in line with scripture saying, this definitely is acting more like a demon than it would the angel Gabriel. We have a comment saying, yep, hit the like button. Just a friendly reminder. So this would be number one on the list. I've talked to Muslims about this. They have no clue about this hadith. Again, you can find this Sahih Muslim. Sahih al-Bukhari, 6982. So that would be number one on our list. So make sure you answer the poll. Did you know about this before this live stream? Do you know about this? Again, this is going to go in progression, right? Because this is going to be the basic stuff, and it's going to get more and more and more obscure until some things that a lot of Muslim scholars don't even know, including one that I specifically asked in person. So I asked this Muslim scholar in person, and they had no clue about it. But that's later on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the poll. So far, we have, out of the votes that we have gotten, for this one, the total is 67% of you guys said, yeah, I already knew this one. 33% of you guys said, no, had no clue. Muhammad tried to commit suicide, tried to off himself multiple times. And again, this wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't for the fact that the Muslims hold him as the ideal code of conduct for people, just all men. And they hold and reject the Bible because it has the prophets doing some things that are morally incorrect, which Christians don't have an issue with because we know that we're all fallen people. But in Islam, all the prophets are supposed to be extremely moral, and to go up to commit suicide is something that is so far removed from what a prophet should do that it's a bit of an issue. So that would be number one on the list. So let me go ahead and end that poll. We're going to go ahead and start up another one here, which would be part two. Now, I do want to remind you guys that we do have the upcoming Seek and Share Truth conference coming up in the beginning. It's the last day of July to the first weekend, through the first weekend of August. Make sure you guys get your free tickets. The link is in the top of the live chat. You guys can click there. The tickets are free. We do also have a fundraiser, which is the Help Us Out part, or the Help Us section there in that link description, in that link comment, which then you can go donate to it if you so desire, because these things aren't cheap, but I want to keep it free for everyone and not charge tickets, because I want this to be open to everyone who wants to come. So I want it open regardless. I don't care if you walk in off the street and you want to hear about this conference and the things that are being said about it. I want you to have a seat at this conference and not have to pay a dime out of your pocket if you don't want to. So, okay, so number two, let's go ahead and dive on in to number two. Yes, and I'm so excited. I'm assuming you're talking about the conference itself. It will be streamed online. If you go to the free tickets, there are options there for in-person as well as online. If you're added on the online, it puts you into an email list that we can send the links to all of it, because it's not going to be all on one channel. There are multiple channels that are going to be streaming multiple different sessions. Now, there are going to be some sessions that are in person only. Those would be the hands-on, the actual in-field training that will be led by some of our speakers, maybe. And those we can't really, I could give you advice online, but to say, here you go, this is how you do it, let's go do this ministry together, you have to be in person for that. So, yep, ticket link, not the donation page. Oh, we have the donation page is on there. Yeah, it's just ticket link twice. The donation page is on there as well on the ticket leap where you can get your tickets. You scroll down, it says donate. I will try to address that later, but let's go ahead and dive on into number 2. So I have the poll on up for you guys, asking if you know about number 2. Don't vote yet. You don't even know what the topic is for number 2. Don't jump the gun yet. You don't know what the topic is. You might know, because again, these are the easy ones, right? These are the simple ones. The second one is wife beating in Islam. It is allowed, and it is even promoted in many ways. Now we're going to the Quran for this one. Quran 434, specifically here, where it's talking about, of course, this is a section of the women. So this is describing marriage. And so it goes, this is the section that we care about here. But those from whom you fear arrogance, or in a lot of other translations, it's disobedience. So fear, you fear. And even then, this is even lower in the bar, because now you're talking about just arrogance, right? So you're not even fearing that they'll disobey you. It's the fear that they'll even be a little arrogant. Then these are the steps you need to take. So advise them, or admonish them in some translations. Forsake them in bed. Now remember that they have these. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this, but those are added. And then finally they say, but finally it's not there. It's just and. So this, and this. So advise them, forsake them in bed, and strike them. So you can physically hit them. And we have references to what that actually means in the Hadith as well. So we go ahead and dive on there to find out what exactly it's talking about, right? So let's share this one here. This is Sahih Muslim 97b. I believe this is the correct one here. Out of breath. Yes. So this is where Muhammad himself strikes Aisha and causes her pain. So Aisha ran back. Aisha was following out at night. Then Aisha went ahead and ran in front of him, scared Muhammad, because it was the shadow that he thought was a demon or something like that out there. And then eventually Muhammad struck her, because he went there and asked her if she was out there, and oh no, she denied that she was out there. But Muhammad knew better, so he went ahead and struck her and caused her pain. So that would be there. So is in such a way, now it could have been translated as shove in this hadith, but in this case, striking, either way, it caused her pain. So if someone says, well, you hit them lightly, so you don't even cause them pain. No, according to the hadith, you cause them pain. That is fine. So we also have an additional one here. This one's a pretty popular one as well. This is found in Sahih al-Bukhari. This is 5825, which is the one about the green dress, right? So a woman comes to Aisha, says, oh no, my husband's beating me. And then Aisha goes to Muhammad and says, oh no, this woman is being beaten. So wearing green veil, her dress, the green spot on her skin caused by beating. So it's being very clear here what it's being caused by, was even greener than her dress that she had. So she had bruising on there because of her beating. And Aisha even admitted that I have not seen any women suffering as much as the believing women. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. After this, the husband comes up, says, she's just not pleasing me in bed. This is not a thing. It's not a big deal. Muhammad brushes it off. There's no punishment for this man beating his wife. There's no time that Muhammad said that it was a bad act. No, this is what it is. It was well accepted. That's fine. And we even know, according to other references here, We go here. Share this one, that there are even rules when it comes to beating your wife. So we share this one instead. So Sahih al-Bukhari 5204, which is talking about, it was the Prophet Muhammad, of course, saying that none of you should flog his wife as he flogs a slave, and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day. So, hey, if you're going to beat your wife, if you're going to flog your wife, you can't demand sex right away, okay? Give her a little break. Give her some time to recover. You can beat the crap out of her. Just let her rest, okay? Let her rest. And then, of course, this then also implies that you can beat slaves, because if you can beat your wives, just not as bad as you beat your slaves, and still have sex with them, then yeah, you can beat your slaves as well. You can flog your slaves. And then we find out in other hadith exactly the other rule that's applied to this. The Prophet said, a man will not be asked to why, as to why he beat his wife. So no, you're not even supposed to be asked. You don't even ask them. They have no reason to tell you why, because they're not required to. They can beat their wives, and no man is to be held responsible for it, because they're not even supposed to be asked. Again, we see the reference here in this hadith, where it's talking, the Prophet said, no man no man shall be asked for the reason of beating his wife. So far, I mean, that is the same over and over and over again. No, you shouldn't be asked. No, you shouldn't be asked. No, you shouldn't be asked. Why you beat your wife. You can beat her, no questions asked. And again, we see this in this other hadith right here, showing it again. A man shall not be asked why he beats his wife. So again, hey, this is the rule. Don't ask. Don't ask. Don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. And in the case of the woman, don't complain, because after all, it is just the generosity of Muhammad that you get to live at all. So it's a generosity of man that you get to breathe. So therefore, you definitely shouldn't complain when your husband beats you, according to Islam. I think it's wrong. I feel that it's very wrong. Guess what? Islam says it's right. What a gentleman. Yep, absolutely. Such a perfect, again, the ideal. That is the ideal man in Islam. That's the one every Muslim needs to be like, according to Islam. So that's two. And I'm hoping that most of you guys got both of those two, because those are pretty common. They're pretty common to refer to, pretty common to say, hey, this is what happens. These are things that are known in Islam, hopefully by most Muslims. But again, I've seen a fight in a mosque over this very point, because the converts to Islam didn't know what they were getting into. They weren't explained that, yeah, your husband can now beat you, and you can't even ask why. You're not to ask. So let's see, 77% of you guys said, yeah, I know about it. So yeah, that one's pretty common, well known. And if you guys are familiar with this channel and what I put out, you'll probably be familiar with most, if not all, of these points. But there are still some on here that I haven't heard many other people cover. So I'm going to go ahead and put number 3 out for you guys. So go ahead, wait until I actually get to number 3 before we start that, because I don't want you to jump ahead. So number 3, this one's also a very popular one, which of course is Muhammad and Aisha. The fact that she was an underage minor when Muhammad decided to consummate it. So again, we have Sahih al-Bukhari 51:34, which talks about the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated, means had sex with her, consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. So again, it's not, that seems to be pretty bad. I know some Muslims will say, well, she was mature for her age and she was past the age of maturity and it is perfectly fine. Yeah, let's see about the rest of the hadith. Because if you just search this on sunnah.com, you come up with a lot of these. A lot and a lot and a lot. And there's some telling points. So another reference to her age would be found in Sahih al-Bukhari 38:94. Again, Aisha speaking that I was a girl of 6 years. So that would be when he married her was when she was 6, and again consummated it when she was 9. This is the hadith that talks about her getting sick and all of her hair falling out and Muhammad waiting for it to grow back because it was an extremely stressful situation. This young girl is being forced into marriage with this guy who's like 53 years old, and she's got no say in it. Her daddy, Abu Bakr, is bought into this hook, line, and sinker and is basically trading his daughter's sexual virginity, sexual access for favors with Muhammad, which, of course, isn't reciprocated later on because that would be just too much. So we share this one. This is Sahih Muslim 1422a, which then talks again about her being 6 years old when Muhammad married her. And then she went to his house and consummated it when she was 9 years old. So it seems to be that you can't really get around that she was young, but they still try to wiggle it out. Here's another one. Sahih Muslim. This is the Book of Marriage, Hadith number 1422b. So this is just a little bit later in it, saying she's 6 years old. And again, 9. You notice this in the hadith. They repeat a lot of stuff over and over and over again. It gets A, B, C, D. It's just the same thing repeating over and over. So then we go ahead. And I'm looking for one in particular because I don't want to go through all these. There are so many, but this one right here is the most, I'd say, damning of all of them. So let's see here. So this is Sahih al-Bukhari 61:30, which again talks about Muhammad and Aisha being at Muhammad's house. Now, this is when Aisha is playing with dolls. But I thought in Islam, dolls were forbidden because they were, images. Well, thankfully, the scholar gives us the information and the exception of why right here. And if this was common practice that young wives would be still playing with their dolls because they're prepubescent, this wouldn't be needed. So it's obvious that, hey, this wasn't a common practice. This is kind of out of the ordinary. And, oh, shoot, I need to explain why she can play with dolls. So, she's playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden. But it was allowed for Aisha at that time. She was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. So she hasn't even reached it yet. Bit of an issue. And again, we have another reference here of her again playing with dolls, specifically saying that she was 9 years old when she was playing with dolls. So the age that Muhammad had consummated the marriage with her, She was playing with dolls. So we know that she was prepubescent. There's no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what the sources say. So that would be number 3 on the list of things so far. Go ahead and take this on down. So let me check you guys here. So let's do super chat from Jack Ray. $1 for each year. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, that's not a lot of money when it comes to Aisha now, is it? No, it's only 6. And you get the opportunity of the last of my confetti balloons until my wonderful wife is able to get back, because I haven't fixed the spinning wheel yet. And my wonderful wife's actually at the store picking up more confetti balloons because I realized that my confetti balloons wasn't coming until tomorrow. And I was like, I need confetti balloons. So here's the last one for now until my wife gets back home. There we go. Fantastic. So thank you very much, Jack Ray, for that. We'll definitely be hitting more of those as soon as she gets back. So if there's any super chats until then, I will just stack them on up and we'll do one big balloon party when she gets back, hopefully. So, yeah, Muhammad saved Jack too many dollars. Yeah. You see the wisdom of Muhammad saving Jack Ray so much money. Mikamuta, if you haven't seen that from David, that is so funny. Yes, I'm still working on the wheel from the conference. Need to work it. My wife said, 10 minutes. ETA, 10 minutes. You're driving. Drive. Don't. No. I'll clean up the confetti for weeks. No, actually, I do clean up. I don't make I'll clean up the confetti. I clean up. I do have a picture to show you guys later on my members from our last little confetti blast this last Monday, because we went through almost all of my confetti balloons except for one. So yep, that was number 3. So let's look at the poll itself. Live poll. Yes, overwhelmingly 92% of you guys who voted said yes, you definitely heard of that one before. It's very common. Again, these get less and less common as we go. Until then, and yes, I see the super chat. I will address it when my wife returns. Let's go ahead and start up the next poll for you guys here. Make sure to keep track of your score, because I would be interested to know what you guys have to say when we get to number 10 and then the bonus one. See what your actual scores is. See if any of you can get a perfect 100% in this live stream. So let's go ahead and create the poll for number 4. And then let me switch on over with my banner to number 4. Make sure if you want to come join us, click the link at the top. Come join us live for the Seek and Share Truth conference in August. And if you can, help out. Even, the small amount of $1 per year of Aisha's life before she was married helps out. Even the smallest amount. So, number 4. This one shocks a lot of people, definitely in the African American community, because they've been sold for quite a while on this. I wish someone would have told some other people this beforehand, because they seem that this was a driving factor in their lives. But I have tried to help point this out to Muslims to make them aware. Of course, I am talking about the whiteness of Muhammad. And here we go with this website is actually wikiislam.net. And it's all about the whiteness of Muhammad. So we'll go ahead and go down through. So his entire leg we have in Sahih al-Bukhari. It talking about the entire whiteness of his leg. And again, in Sahih Muslim, it talks about the whiteness of Allah's apostle's leg. When we talk about thighs, we see his whiteness. Again, in Sahih Muslim. And then we see the whiteness of his shanks, which my wife always thinks is hilarious because the only time she's heard of shanks is like when you're serving up meat. You know, do you want the shank? It's like, are they serving him up? Nope, it's the whiteness of his shanks. And then you got the arms, the forearms here in Sunnah Abi Dawood. We see the forearms of the apostle of Allah is white. We see his armpits are white in a lot of different sources. Holy cow, that's a lot of sources, all saying his armpits are white. And again, his armpits were white, the whiteness of his armpits. Now, I could see some Muslims saying, well, you see, it's not so much that he's white as in like a skin complexion, right? Skin complexion. But here's his oh my gosh, abdomen being white. Here's his face being white, cheeks described as white, and here you go, his complexion. He had a white, handsome face. Again, white. And even so, in this one right here in Sahih Bukhari, we see that a man came to the mosque to talk to Muhammad, so he tied up his camel. He came in and asked the Muslims, where is Muhammad? Who amongst you is Muhammad? And their reply was, this white man reclining on his arm. So he's so white that they can pick him out and say, see that guy there? As one of his defining features, he's white. He's whiter than everyone else in the room. Because they can pick him out. So no, he's definitely a white guy. There's no question about it. And there are so many more hadith about it than what I've covered, depicting every single part of his body as being white, 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 white. And of course, under Sharia, it is a death penalty for you to dare say that Muhammad was black. If you say Muhammad's black, that's a death sentence. Because after all, Muhammad was extremely racist in many, many ways. But that one didn't even make the list. I maybe I should have. There's so many more. There's so many more than what I had. For some reason, this would be funny. Give Mr. Bean a red beard. That would be hilarious. Someone needs to do that. Get AI and do that with AI. That would be hilarious. So, Cheeky Shiki says, for some reason, I always imagined Mo looking like Mr. Bean. Well, I think that would be a pretty accurate description there. White meat. Yeah. Speech to text. Still drive. Don't even use speech to text. Just drive. You'll be here in less than 10 minutes. You're not going to miss much. So let's see here. So that was number 4, I think. Yes, number 4 on the list. So we're about ready to hit number 5. So let's see. Live chat. Yep. Overwhelming number in the live chat already knew about that. Yes, sirree. These are the easy ones. So we have a comment here, and I was like, his armpits were mostly pure. Morally pure. His armpits were morally pure. Sorry, using a different screen for that because I'm redoing the poll. So we got a new poll going on here. Our next one is number 5. So before the live stream, did you know that Muhammad was a very active slave trader? And we'll get into that. So Muhammad and slavery is the next one. Yes, I even had a debate with Nadir on this topic, which Nadir immediately admitted, of course, Islam promotes slavery, but it's not the slavery you think it is. except I proceeded to prove that it was definitely the slavery everyone thought it was. In fact, he industrializes on such a level that it made the American slave trade look like nothing, almost like a blip on the screen in comparison to the Islamic slave trade. That's how bad it was. And the American slave trade was bad. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it definitely doesn't get the attention. So, of course, we have the first section here, which is talking about, I believe this is the correct one. Yes, it is. So it's talking about protecting yourself, your chastity, from everyone except from their wives and those their right hands possess. Yes, in this case, we're looking at this in slavery. We would definitely be referring to this later on because, well, slavery wasn't the only thing that this applied to. They are not to be blamed. So if they had sex with slaves, they are not to be blamed. And this is specifically going out to have sex slaves, to take them in battle. So again, we see this in Quran 4:24, which talks about it again. It's not unlawful sexual intercourse. So it's not unlawful for you to have sexual intercourse with your slaves. You're perfectly fine. Your booty. You're perfectly fine doing it. Allah is understanding. And even if you force your slaves to be into the sex trade, don't worry, because Muhammad himself is ever forgiving, and he'll just wipe those sins clean. So then, well, the question is, what type of slavery is this? Is this really chattel slavery, where someone is going out and capturing slaves, going out primarily to capture slaves, capturing them in war, taking them and forcing them into slaves? Well, yes, that definitely seems to be. This is in Sunan Abi Dawood 21:55, where it talks about some of Muhammad's companions wanting to have intercourse with the female captives, but they were reluctant because their pagan husbands, were right there. So then Allah revealed those verses about your right hands possessing, and you're perfectly fine with doing it, and that their marriage beforehand is completely annulled. As soon as you get captured, then your previous marriage is annulled, and you're perfectly fine, ready to go. So all married women are forbidden unto you, save those captives, puts that in there, whom your right hands possess. So it's actually save those whom your right hands possess. So you can, have sex. You just have to wait for their waiting period, make sure they're not pregnant, and you're good to go. You can have fun with them. Doesn't matter what their husbands were beforehand, doesn't matter anything about it. Hey, you're completely fair. It's completely fair game. So, but let's say maybe Muhammad just had a couple slaves, right? Maybe he didn't have that many, right? We go ahead and go to provisions of the afterlife for this. So this is writing of Muslim scholars. Go ahead and put it there. Let me see if I can make this bigger, because this is extremely small. So we have the list of, if I go to the bottom, there we go. So on this first page here, we have the list of his female slaves right here. These are not servants, because those are in a completely different category in this book. But right here is Muhammad's female slaves at this point in time. And here is the male slaves, which continue onto the second page and continue and continue. All in all, Muhammad had over 40 slaves at a given time. He was a slave trader. This wasn't just, oh, we are just here for this. It's just for personal use. No, he was trading it actively. So again, I've done a whole short video just reading off Muhammad's slaves. We also know that he was having sex with them because he knocked one of them up. So there's that, which is always fantastic to do, right? It's only bad when a white guy does it, after all. Well, wait, hold on. Muhammad was white. That's only bad when an American does it, I guess, according to Islam. So that is, well, maybe he was okay with slaves, maybe treat them nicely. I mean, maybe it was consensual with the intercourse, although, of course, then again, we would consider that statutory rape. But let's just say, hypothetically, maybe she was okay with it. Well, we see in Sunan Abi Dawood, let me share this one, 1818, where we have Abu Bakr and Muhammad, and Abu Bakr starts beating a slave in front of Muhammad, and Muhammad just sits there smiling, making a joke, basically. Just sit there smiling. Yeah, it's just a normal day. It's a normal day, so sit there smiling and go with it. So it sounds like my balloons might be here. My balloons are here. My wife is back. Congratulations. So let's go ahead. That would be the end of this one here. Pretty sure. Yes. The end of this one. And we have our balloons. So I'm going to go ahead, and I do have a super chat. So I'm going to have my wife come here and give me that. And she can go through the super chat because of the time frame. So go ahead with the super chat whenever you're ready.
This says, sing DMX. Sue's gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. We also got some other celebratory supplies. So we got little party things.
We got party whistles.
We got another option for celebratory hats. We got different kinds of confetti balloons. And we got a really cool... We got really cool shoot 8 feet confetti guns for if we reach $500 on our Seek and Share Truth Conference fundraiser, because we're 130 away. So I think that's totally doable, and those should be lots of fun and even more mess to clean up. And we also got crowns.
So because of that super chat, that means I do need to blow this up real quick. Hold on here. I need help from the person who is off screen here. Go ahead and blow your whistle. And we'll start this water. There we go. Turn it everywhere. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and get on back. Let's see what the poll says here for you guys and what the live chat's going on. Bunch of people waving to my wonderful wife as she was here. PG, what's that, L?
What?
Yes, I'm glad that it occurred at that time, not earlier. Because let's be honest, this isn't PG necessarily. Some of these topics, although are historically accurate, can be, well, a bit more rough. So let's go ahead and take a look at the poll itself here, ladies and gentlemen. For the last one, we have 76% of you guys already knew about. So there's still, okay, pretty decent. I guess number one was more unknown about Muhammad trying to commit suicide than these others. So let's go ahead and end that one, and we will start number 6, and we'll go in for our 6th topic. So let's go ahead. Oop, nope. Nope, end the poll. Well, let me start another one until I end the last one. So let's start a poll here. And yes, we'll have those special party poppers for everyone who helps donate. And if we can get up to 500 on the actual fundraiser for Seek and Share Truth, we still have a long way to go. And we have about a month and a half before it happens. So, oh boy. But we'll get there, Lord willing. The Lord wants this to happen, it will happen. And there's nothing that could stop it if the Lord wants it to go. So number 6, and I'm thinking most of you guys should get number 6, although again, for Muslims, they don't necessarily get this one too much. This would, of course, be the Islamic dilemma, which is the song that we started this live stream off with. So share this. Here, so the Islamic dilemma goes by, says, hey, according to the Quran, we are supposed to judge by the gospel. So here we have Quran 5:47, which is talking about let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed therein, and whomever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, then those are the defiantly disobedient. So if we don't judge by what Allah has revealed, so it must be clear what Allah has revealed in the Quran, and at no point in the Quran does it ever say that the Bible is corrupt. There's no sense that Muhammad would have said that the Bible was corrupt. He always seemed to imply it. There are sections that say that, well, they might twist what's written there, but at no point does it say that they're altering what's written and it was corrupted beforehand. In fact, you get the opposite reaction in the Quran because it says that no one can change Allah's words. So much so that even if, again, this has got to be Muhammad's perspective on this, and Allah's perspective, according to the Quran, is that you could go to the people of the book. So this is Quran 10:94, and it's telling Muhammad, if he had any doubts about which we have revealed to you, then ask those who have been reading the scriptures before you. This could only apply to the Christians and the Jews, because that's what's been referred there. Now, again, at this time, the Quran was not written down. There's no indication that Muhammad ever commanded the Quran being written down. In fact, according to the Hadith, this was something completely alien to Muhammad, writing it down and putting it into a book. So if it's talking about the scriptures before it, then that would have to be the Bible and the Torah. So, nope, again, we must judge by what the Gospels say. Now you could say, well, after Muslims sometimes say after Muhammad, it got corrupted. Well, the problem is we have documentations going all the way back to 100 AD, which says that we have the same thing. In fact, it's the Gospel of John, which most Muslims would point out, saying, see, that one seems to be the latest one because, it's the highest, authority of God. It really paints Jesus as being God. I mean, John 1, which again, we have from the first century, says that Jesus is God. Jesus, the Word, is God himself. So Jack Ray says it's 500 now. Okay. So we will have to do a special video just for that, separate from this live stream. But talking about the Islamic dilemma, so then we go to the next one in line here, because let's be honest, we've got to be thorough. Whenever they say, well, the Bible is corrupt and you can't really trust it, well, then you remind them that according to Quran 15:9, it is Allah himself who has protected the Gospels. He is the one who sent down the Quran. Some is just reminder, the message. So again, he's the one claiming that it's under his authority and that he will be the one guarding it. Well, again, the only books around at this time, according to the Hadith and the timeline that Islam says is true, would be, oh, look at that. What's tonight's topic? Tonight's topic is 10 Islamic truths that Muslims struggle with or don't know. So we are now on, I think, I forgot to put that number. We are on number 6. We're on number 6, and we're asking the question. The poll is out there. If you guys have heard about this before, the Islamic dilemma, this is the one that should be everywhere this year. Everyone should hear about it. There should be no question about it. at all. So that's what we've got to push. And again, even if they say, well, we only believe in sections of the Bible, well, that's a problem. Because you see, the Quran already dealt with that in Quran 285, which specifically condemns anyone that only believes in part of the scripture and disbelieves in parts. Again, the only sort of written scripture that was around would have been the Bibles and the Torah. So if you're saying that you only believe sections, then this punishment is called down upon you, which says on the day of resurrection, they will be sent back to the severest of punishments. So it's the severest of punishments that you get because you say that you only believe part of what Allah revealed, part of the Torah and the Gospels. And if you say, well, it's just single, it's just gospel, so it must be talking about Jesus, this magic book that Jesus must have had. The answer is there's no historical evidence about that, but there is historical evidence of all four of the gospels being put together and being given as the fourfold gospel. End. So it would have been singular in that case. So that would be the Islamic dilemma, which has, again, stumped many. And according to our plans, if everything works out well, at the next Seek and Share Truth conference, we will have a debate on this topic, which would be an absolute fantastic time. So if you guys want to come, Muslims, I see some Muslims in the chat, if you guys want to talk later, I will have an open call-in at the end of this live stream where you can come on and confront me about any of these topics. But now we're going to get into the a bit more edgy side of things. So let me switch over to that one. There. So we need, not that one. Where is it? Oh, no. Okay, there we go. That's one. It was out of order. Okay, got it. So before we switch over, I do want you to know what the live chat says here. The poll, 82% of you say, yep, already heard it, which is fantastic. I hoped all of you would get at least 6 of these right before we start diving into the deeper topics that aren't really terribly shared, at least not yet, that I'd like to push more towards the forefront. Although, again, the Islamic dilemma is the one that we're trying to push this year. Let everyone know about it and place it everywhere. So we're going to end that one. I'll go ahead and start the next poll right here. And this is number 7. So start. Okay. So number 7 itself. 6 to 7. Okay. Number 7. We have that Allah is reliant on people's sins. Allah himself needs people to sin. So much so that this hadith was given. So let's share that. This is Sahih Muslim 2749. So 2749. Sorry, there's another one about the same later on that will be hitting. But it says, by him in whose hand is my life, if you were not to commit sin, Allah would wipe you out of existence and he would replace you. Those people by those people who would commit sins and seek forgiveness from Allah. And he would, So this is Sahih Muslim 2749 again for you guys' reference. So again, in order for God, Allah to have one of his traits, one of his divine traits, he needs people to sin. Because in order for him to have this forgiveness, He needs to have people sinning in order for him to forgive, so much so that he would just wipe out perfect people and replace them with sinners, because that's what he needs. So, and then he would have pardoned them. So he make them just so they can sin, just so he could forgive them and pardon them. And he would know the entire time that they would be committing sin. So this would be a big issue. Again, God that needs sin. It's not that he wants it, he needs it in order to be able to demonstrate part of his character, because he would have had to have changed. Because before humanity, before people sinned, how is he forgiving? Where's that mercy? He's supposed to be the most merciful before he created anything, and he's just by himself. How is he merciful? He has to have someone else to be merciful to in order to have that attribute, unless you're claiming that Allah has changed. And that's an issue. So that would be number 7. Again, whenever I pulled that up with most Muslims, they had no clue that even existed. But 88% of you guys say, yep, I got it. It's cool. Well done with number 7 on that one. It was pretty inspirational for me, guys, being able to get that one. I know I've mentioned it before in live streams, so if you're someone who's familiar with my live streams, you would have been familiar with this one. But even then, I never know who actually ends up watching and absorbing this. So I'm glad you guys have absorbed it so far. This is really cool. So you guys are going to get this. Now, I will give you my score before I started studying Islam after we're done. So my score out of the 10 plus 1 bonus. So the next one, and this one is very interesting because I've used this with Muslims. I've talked with Muslims about this. I've asked Muslims. They've said, oh, you need to go to your imam. You need to go to the imams about this. I go to the imams about this. What do the imams say? I need to go to the scholars about this. Well, I did. And I'm not going to introduce this guy, because I'm going to let this was a debate between this Muslim and a Christian. I'm going to let the moderator give the credentials of the Muslim himself, and then we'll hear what his opinion is on this hadith. Of course, this is hadith Sahih Muslim 2767. So if I add this real quick beforehand. Nope, that was the last one. This one instead, right here. So it says, when it will be the day of resurrection, Allah will deliver to every Muslim, a Jew, or Christian, and say, that is your rescue from hellfire. If we go to B, it continues and restates it again, saying that no Muslim will die, but Allah would admit in his stead a Christian or Jew in hellfire. And the next one, I believe, is just reference. Yep. Okay. Next one here. So this is all one hadith. It's just A, B, C, and now we're on D, which specifically says there will come people among the Muslims on the day of resurrection with as heavy sins as a mountain, and Allah will forgive them, and he will place in their stead, so taking substitution, so substitution here, the Jews and the Christians. So, hey, you got sins as heavy as a mountain. That's fine. I'll just take it and put it on the Jews and the Christians here. And this says repeatedly. So it says it 3 times in this one hadith. So, and this Muslim scholar was saying that, whenever it's important, God repeats it multiple times. So this is his credentials. I'll go ahead and play that little clip, and then we'll play the response when I asked him about this hadith.
Dr. Nasser Karamian, he embraced Islam at the tender age of 14 and began a life of research and dawah, being an active participant in local MSA events and lectures. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Concordia University with a major in religion and a minor in classical Arabic language. He went on to earn a master's degree in the history and philosophy of religion from that same university. He then continued his Islamic studies in Qalam Institute, which is headed by Sheikh Abdul Nasir Jangda. In 2019, he completed his PhD from the International Islamic University of Malaysia in Usul al-Din and Comparative Religion. Dr. Nasser has traveled throughout the US, UK, and Canada, giving lectures on Islam to various Islamic youth groups and organizations. He joined Al Huda Foundation in 2020 as imam, resident scholar, and youth director. Please welcome Dr. Nasser.
So that is who I asked. So that would be definitely qualified. He's a Muslim. He's got degrees in theology and he's ready to go. So obviously he's read the Hadith. He's definitely read at least some of Sahih Muslim. He's definitely read some of Sahih al-Bukhari. There's a lot there. But I went ahead and asked him specifically about this reference, and this was what he had to say about it.
I'm not going to be forced into answering something that I am unfamiliar with, so I'd rather look into it.
So you're unfamiliar with Sahih Muslim?
With that particular hadith, yeah. Do you know how big Sahih Muslim is?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't expect that answer. But yes, it's a lot. There is a lot there, but yet someone who has claimed to be a scholar, who's got multiple degrees in this, should have definitely been familiar with this. So here we go. So that would be the next one on the list right here. So that's number 8. That one I have referred to. I've definitely been using it more and more since the conference there itself. So if any of you Muslims disagree with this hadith and with the sources that I'm showing, again, at the end, you will have the opportunity to call in. I'll have a certain time set aside. If no one calls in, then we'll roll right into the outro and go from there. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the poll. 90% of you out of 10 votes. Guys, 10 votes? Really? You guys need to vote faster. Out of 10 of you guys, you said, most of you said yes. One of you said no. I'm actually kind of surprised you guys knew this. So guess what? Out of those 9 who said, hey, I knew this already, that this was already an issue, you are actually more intelligent than the Muslim scholar I just showed. You know more than he does. So you are more certified than a Muslim scholar. What a big surprise. By that, I mean, I am not shocked at all. So number 9, and this one's going to be a doozy. If Muslims got upset with the last ones, just wait. So let's go ahead and go with number 9. So this one indeed is a hot topic, and I've already done a large video on this from last year, but it did not get the oomph it definitely should have. So I'm still reminding people of it because I spent a long time looking at the actual sources and taking multiple showers afterwards. Yes, we are going back into bestiality again. So in Islam, bestiality is accepted and allowed. It's not necessarily promoted, but it is allowed, but disliked by many of the Muslim scholars. So we'll go ahead and dive on into those references here. Of course, we got to go, we'll start with the Quran itself. So we're going to share this here. So this is Quran 42:11, which again, oh no, this one here is talking about creation. So the creator of the heavens and the earth, he has made for you from yourselves mates, and among the cattle mates, Now, a lot of Muslims try to separate that out. But there is actually no separation. There's no change of the actual addressing individual. So you have that you have sexual partners with females that were created among yourselves and of animals. We'll see how those lines actually blur later on. So again, we go ahead and head on over to Quran 70:28. So 70:28 right here. Oh, okay. So indeed, the punishment of their Lord is not that from which one is safe. Sorry, this one is split weird. And those who guard their private parts, except from their wives, and those their right hands possess. The right hands possess don't only include people as far as sex slaves, but also includes animals and other objects. So those the right hands possess would be those you have power over or what you have power over. So they're not to be they're not to be blamed for it, they're not to be condemned for it. So they are fine if they have sexual intercourse with animals that they own. Again, that's the key. There are rules as we will go into the specific animal intercourse later on. So again, we see, oh, I forgot, or I did divide those up. Ah, see, I was actually on top of that. I didn't have to go reload each one. Huh. So we go to Quran 23, verse 5. Share this one instead. And again, it's basically restating the same thing. And those who guard their private parts, except from their wives, and those their right hands possess. For indeed, they will not be blamed. So you're not going to get blamed if it's what you possess. That's fine. And then you go to the Hadith, which, let's be honest, the Hadith are kind of confusing. So you see in Sunnah Abi Dawood, we see, this is 44:64, we see that the order is to kill him and the animal. So if anyone has sexual intercourse with an animal, kill him and kill it along with him. So that seems pretty cut and dry, right? This is Islam. Nothing is cut and dry. Because you turn to the next one in line. And we find out there that, oh, shoot, there is no prescribed punishment for one who has sexual intercourse with an animal. Okay, so is there or is there not? Well, like Muslims say, if you don't understand the actual facts of it, so you're not sure one way or the other on the Hadith, you're supposed to go to the Muslim scholars who interpret the Hadith, right? So then we go to the Muslim scholars, and let me pull them up. First of all, we go to one of the most noted Muslim scholars of all time, which is Imam al-Nawawi, in one of the most respected commentaries of all time about Sahih Muslim. And he says about Sahih Muslim 349, he says this. He talks about if the head, I'm trying to actually censor this. Okay, I'm not reading this, okay? You can look at this. You can read this. This is what the Muslim scholars say, okay? I have already read this once on YouTube. I don't want to read it again. It is dirty. Needless to say, there are multiple interesting parts, like If you do it willingly or intentionally or absent-mindedly, whether it is done willfully or forcefully, then you need to wash. That's what it is. And yes, this also includes dead, young, or old. So there's no question on what it is. And the result is, hey, you need to do the ceremonial washing and you're good to go. That is it. That is what he subscribes for this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. And if you want to look more into that, you can go get the book and read more. But that is what he said about this hadith. Well, not this hadith specifically, but the Sahih Muslim 349, which I've read, and I would not have got that out of it. But you know what? The Muslim scholar says it, so that's what the Muslims say I got to go with. So that doesn't work so well in their regard. So on top of this, we also have Reliance of the Traveler, which nice that they don't translate everything for us, but luckily I have friends. So if I share this, so this is Reliance of the Traveler. This is PDF page. So if you look at the PDF, it is page 628. This is 012.3 for reference. And of course, I mean, you look at the rest of it, it's like everything's translated. You got the Arabic on one side, the English on the other, the Arabic on one side, the English on the other, the Arabic on one side, the English on the other, the Arabic on one side, and oh, looky here, it's not translated. I wonder why. Well, they don't like what it says. And basically what it says is, you have it. You don't need to punish anyone. There's no prescribed punishment. There's no punishment for those who have intercourse with animals or with a dead body or alive women or a dead woman who is below the private parts, or a female slave that he owns. So you got to own. Or his sister who is owned by him, or has intercourse with his wife during menstruation, or the anus, or masturbates with his hand, yada, yada, yada. There is no punishment for him. So there's no prescribed punishment at all. Boom. No prescribed punishment. Scot-free. If those are whom you possess. So if it is someone you possess, have authority over, you're fine. If it's your animal, you're fine. Again, would be in line with that. So we'll go ahead and remove this one. And again, I know I see the 41 chats on there. I'll get to it when I get to it. Okay. I want to get through this one as fast as possible because I don't like this topic. So again, let me remove the chat and the number so we can see all the reference here. There we go. Okay. This is a ruling by the Council of Muslim scholars on this. Sex with animals before the mission Islam was widespread, and many narrations are narrated that it was halal but disliked. And so there you go. That's the main part right there. If it causes self-harm, then you're supposed to stop it, and you must admit it to the owner of the sheep. So if you aren't the owner, you must admit it and must pay for it. So you must pay for sex with the animal, basically purchase it. You can have sex with it. Don't make self-harm. It's disliked, but you can do it. So there's no question about it. So, bit of a hard one on that one. Well, maybe the Muslims in the chat are saying, well, that's an old ruling. It's not really applicable. Even though I pulled up reliance of the traveler showed in Sharia, hey, this is what it's supposed to be. This is why you have this. Well, maybe that was written for back then, and no Muslim scholar would say about it nowadays. Well, Dr. Zakir Naik. A man is still considered pure when he relieves his lust with a sheep or a goat. If there is no woman, there is no lust or sexual sin. Then the animal becomes tainted and must die. So says the Prophet Muhammad. So according to him, that's what Prophet Muhammad said. And if any Muslim says that they are more knowledgeable than the medical doctor, Dr. Zakir Naik, which I can never hear anyone say that I'm a medical doctor without hearing Zakir Naik in the back of my mind. That's all I hear whenever I hear anyone say I'm a medical doctor of any regard. So that would be number 9, I believe, on the list. Put this on back here. I'm curious to see if you guys were aware of that. I know I did a video on it, which goes more in depth, but you know what? There is one more thing. I just realized I looked at my notes, and there is one more thing on it. Let's go ahead and head over to this Muslim and hear what he has to say on this topic.
مثل گاو و گوسفنده که خدا اینها را خلق کرده برای اینکه وسیله غذای مردم باشه و یک قسم حیوان خلق کرده و اون زنها و خانمها هستن. اینا عین گاو و گوسفند هستن، حیوان هستن، ولکن و خدا خلقشون کرده برای استفاده مردها، فقط واسه که مردا وحشت نکنن این زنها را به شکل خود انسان خلق کرده، اگر نه اینها عین همون گاو و گوسفند و عین همون اسب و شتر و الاغ هستن.
So there you go. That is the ruling there. And if he is correct, and you know what? Women are just animals. Therefore, then according to that, all sex in Islam would be bestiality. So there's no difference between women and animals. And Aisha herself even refers to Muhammad putting her on the same level as an animal. So that leads us to number 9. But before I do that, how many of you guys were familiar with that one? Oh my goodness. You guys need to go watch my video from last year about it, because that was pretty bad. So that was a lot of work I had to put into it, a lot of time diving into sources. I really rather not. A lot of time in incognito mode, because I don't want that crap on my computer. I'm looking up the sources. But you say about 59% of you guys say that you were familiar with that before this live stream. 41% of you guys say, nope, didn't know about it. So yes, that was one of the harder ones I definitely want to put on there and raise awareness of, because that is what Islam actually teaches. And according to Sharia, it's legal. And we have, in America, we have, senators and members of Congress who would definitely say that Sharia is the way to go. And, it's just a dietary thing. No, it's not. No, it's not a dietary thing. It's a lot more than that. And this is just one of many issues with it. I do plan on, in the future, going through a series on revisiting the series I did a long time ago about what Sharia law says about certain topics. I'm going to dive back through again and actually just go through with you guys and do basically a class on what Sharia actually says. And we're just going to read the sources. We're just going to look through and actually see what it says. So the next poll is number 10. So in number 10, do you guys know this or not? If you've been part of this channel, you probably know about it. If you've been part of my wife's channel, you definitely know about it, because she definitely mentioned it. So I'm going to check quick look at the live chat before putting it on there. Spin on the term call of the wild. Yeah. Yeah, that it gets bad. And the whole point, the original reason why I went down and did the study on it was because too many Marys. So Mary told me, hey, I think it was her that said it, mentioned about the endangered river dolphins in Pakistan, I think it was, that are now endangered because of the amount of abuse that people have been doing against them. Muslim men have been doing against them. And it's a traditional thing. And I looked in that. I was like, oh, shoot. That's not the only place you see this. You see this everywhere with Islam. This is common in Islam. And then I started having people, definitely the comments in the video I did on that was pretty bad, because they're coming in there saying, hey, I was stationed out there, and, you know, you would hear things and see things, and these things happen. So am I saying that any given Muslim out there is the code of conduct for Islam? No. But if you're saying that your Muslim scholars are the ones who decide what the reliance of these hadith are, the reliance of the rulings are, what fatwas are going out, all of these things, if you're saying that, I just went to your scholars and it ain't looking pretty. I'm just going to say that. Because they can sexually do that and they are sexually enjoying them. That's the reason. And unfortunately, a lot of times it leads to the dolphin's death. And that puts them on the endangered list because of that. That is bad. So let's go ahead and go on to number 10, which is slightly better. Oh, at least slightly better for me, mentally speaking. So we're going to go back to reliance of the traveler. So back to the ruling of the Muslim scholars in Sharia. And we find in number 10 that Muslims are commanded by Muhammad to pray to him. So we share this one instead. Now this is, if you look at the PDF, this is page 952 on the PDF that I have here, which you can find free online. I'm not sure what physical page it actually is. Let me scroll down and find out. Okay, the physical page is 935 in reliance of the traveler. And this is the Sharia handbook. So we open that up and we find the hadith of the blind man, which in this hadith of the blind man, we find that there was a blind man who approached Muhammad, said, hey, Allah's not listening to me. He's not paying attention to me. I need, someone to intercede for me. Would you intercede for me with Allah? And Muhammad then told him to go do wudu, perform 2 rakas of prayer, and then say, so this is in the mosque, praying on the prayer rug. He is to say, "O Allah, I ask you and turn to you through my prophet Muhammad, the prophet of mercy. O Muhammad," directly addressing Muhammad on the prayer rug, "I seek your intercession with my Lord," i.e. Allah. So you're talking to Muhammad. Your intercession is Muhammad's intercession with Allah for the return of my eyesight. So here you go. He's praying, and that's what happens. Now, the Muslim scholars agree that this is perfectly fine to do. There's no issue with it. I've had Muslims say, well, it's during Muhammad's lifespan, so there's no big deal. It's not a big deal if it's just during Muhammad's life, right? Well, did I start up the poll again? Just want to make sure. Yeah, I did start up the poll again. Fantastic. Okay. Well, the problem is you go to the very next page. And this is the hadith of the man in need. And this was during the time that Uthman was ruling. So he was caliph. And Uthman was not listening to this man who had a need. So he goes ahead and asks the companions, what am I supposed to do about this? Where am I supposed to go? So, and then they said, go, and then you do this prayer again. So you go to the mosque, come to the mosque, perform 2 rites of prayer therein, and say, O Allah, I ask you and turn to you through our prophet Muhammad. Again, this is when Muhammad's in the grave. He's dead. The prophet of mercy, O Muhammad, I turn through you to my Lord, that he may fulfill my need. The problem with this, and this is huge, is that if you're praying to someone that is dead, you're assuming that those people can hear you and be able to answer your prayers and be able to intercede for you. So you have here a dead man who's being prayed to in the mosque, and they're expecting him to know and to intercede for them. That's an issue. That's a huge issue there. So that would be number 10. That, yes, I'm not talking about, oh, well, even then, because, yes, whenever you address anyone in prayer, you're addressing them. You're praying to them. But specifically here, it's very clear who you're addressing, who you're praying to. And in Islam, prayer is a part of worship, which is supposed to be only pray to Allah, not to anything else. Well, here you go, right here. Muhammad's commanding shirk. It's a continuous shirk throughout all of history, and according to scholars, it's still in effect today. So that would be the major ones there. And let me see for my bonus. So let me check out. It says false. Prayer is addressing Allah, not prophet. Yes, it is. Again, look at the actual source. Look at what it says. It specifically says, "Oh Allah." So it starts off addressing Allah. I ask you and turn to you. So that would be Allah, would be the you and the you. I agree with that. Through our prophet Muhammad. And if that's where it stopped, okay, well, still not sure about what turning through a dead prophet's doing, but okay. The prophet of mercy. Fine, you could do that. O Muhammad. That's a direct address. That is a direct address to Muhammad. I turn through you, addressing this you, to my Lord. So if you're saying the you is actually Allah, we could replace it. I turn through Allah to my Lord. Who's Lord? It would make no sense. The only thing that would make sense in this context, because you're asking for intercession with Allah, is if you is referring to Muhammad himself, which would make sense in the sentence structure itself. I turn through you, Muhammad, to my Lord, Allah, that he may fulfill my need. That who would fulfill? Allah. Again, third person, not saying that you may fulfill my need. It is that he will fulfill my need. So still not addressing Allah directly. So there's no way around this one. It is bad. So, okay. Well, we do have the bonus one, which I just made a mistake, but that's okay. Mistakes happen. I clicked off of it when I shouldn't have clicked off of it. There we go. I took it down when I shouldn't have. So let me look at the live chat, and I see 73% of you guys. Wow. Okay. So this is interesting. So the thing that you guys did not know the most of was the animal sex in Islam. Everything else you guys had a high knowledge on. You even know about this part here. Okay, cool. No, I'm very happy because that means that the apologists are doing their work, getting this information out to you guys, which is exactly what I'm hoping to do. Because, I mean, seriously, if you guys didn't learn from the videos that we put out, there'd be no point in putting out the videos. It is for education. We're trying to let you guys know. So, Jack Ray says, I've heard too much from Mary now. I can't unhear. I can't unhear. Yeah, tell me about it. Islam is garbage and it gets horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Just look at the one I did with Mary last week. It was rough. I mean, we knew about it. We knew the contents, but it was a rough one in the regard of being a very sensitive. Okay, it was very creepy. Muhammad was a creepy guy. Definitely when it came to young kids, be male or female. And according to some hadith, which I'm still trying to track down, it's probably just not translated. He also did with camels, male and female. So there's that. You get that bonus point for free. You don't even know what number 11 is yet. Who is voting yes or no on it? You don't even know what it is. Okay. So I did fix the Gifts and Go link here. So let me see here if that is going to work because YouTube's a pain in the butt. There we go. Okay, that one's better. Okay. Delete that. There we go. Okay, so now I've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this one to the top for a little bit. Place pin comment. If you guys want free ticket, do remember that the Seek and Share Truth conference is coming up. So let's go ahead and give the opportunity to any Muslim before I even do number 11 to go ahead and call in. And here's the link. And you can pick from the list of the ones that I had, the 10 options to come and refute me on, because I know there are Muslims definitely in the chat that have been trying to refute me just in chat without actually knowing anything. And all they're refuting is their own Muslim scholars. That's all they're going to end up doing. So that link is now in the live chat. Muslims, you can come on up and we'll have a conversation. I'd love to know why these Muslim scholars are unreliable and you are more authoritative than they are. Should be fun to see. So again, the Seek and Share Truth conference coming up in the beginning of August. Make sure you get your tickets. And if you can, please do donate and help us out so we can keep this free for everyone and we don't end up needing to charge prices for it. We did go to one not too long ago that did need to charge because they weren't getting the fundraising up, I guess. And they charge like $200+ per ticket, or about that, around there. And tell you truthfully, I looked at the numbers, I crunched numbers, and yeah, that's about right. They're absolutely right about that price. So yeah, what we're offering you guys is something of great value that you guys can come to. All we're asking is that you take care of your hotel and be able to come to the conference. And we're taking care of the speakers. We're taking care of the church. We're taking care of all the nitty gritty of it. I just offering to you guys to come on up and come join us for it. And if you can, help by donating to keep it free for other people. Even if you can't join in person, you still have free tickets online. And if you could, again, help, that'd be great. But other than I'm just really poor at selling things because I suck at it. I'm not a salesman. So the bonus round Okay, so this is your bonus round, which I'm thinking most of you guys probably got most of them right, is of course Alzoot. Is the man of Alzoot. And of course, let me get the reference up for you guys here. Actually, let me put it full here because you don't need my face on it. Let's go ahead and look at the reference itself. So here you go. The specific section in question, and if you don't know, it's when Muhammad and his friend went out to the desert, and then these strapping men came in, and you know what? I don't want to explain it, so I'm going to let someone else explain it. So Raymond Ibrahim. Oop, there we go. Okay. Raymond Ibrahim, please come and explain this reference. Never mind. That was a wrong one. I don't actually have that one. Darn it. Oh no, I didn't prepare that one. I guess not. So means I gotta tell you what Alzoot did. The men of Alzoot did. Okay, very simple. They came and they proceeded to ride, and the Arabic there is very clear. It's sexual. They sexually rode Muhammad all night long to where he came back and he was in great pain and just laid down with his companions. So that would be the sum total of it. Again, here's the reference. Let me put it bold here. Screenshot this. Use it. Let me go page 1. Let's see. Right here, page 1. So you guys can screenshot this bugger. Get out there. This is thanks to Jai for providing this. 2, 3. Then the next page down. Since this is Pride Month, this seems like a poetic one to try to get out during this month. There you go. And then the last section here. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. There we go. So if you guys want to come back and screenshot that, it is available for you guys to use. Take it. Be effective with it. God willing. So, okay. So that would be Alzoot, which would be the last one in line there. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for voting. And 82 of you said that you actually knew that one. So let me ask you guys in the chat who was keeping track. Please let me know what your end scores were. How many of these did you actually know? How many didn't you know? I will tell you straight up. Before I actually started doing some deep dives into the sources and what the scholars say and all this stuff, I didn't know. Okay, these were things I did not know. Okay, so we got 10 out of 11. I'd be curious to know what that one was. Jack Ray says, wheel. And 11. So you got 11. I got, this is the one I opened up. No. Oh, you got me more than one. I will go ahead and blow this balloon up while I'm waiting for other people to go ahead. Wow, you guys are sharp. You guys are on this. Well, technically with my bonus question that I asked. And again, Muslims, it's your opportunity. The link is pinned at the top. You guys call in, come refute me, come tell me. Let's have a conversation on it. And I misplaced my official balloon popper. A shiny balloon popper. Wherefore thou go, shiny balloon popper. I will find you. Aha! There's my shiny balloon popper. It is my official balloon popper. So there we go. So for Jack Ray, there we are. Wow, I like this confetti a bit better. It's much more confetti. Oh, my drink's messed up. Oh, well. I forgot. I need to make sure I bring drinks that get covered now. So, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, where are you guys? Where are they? Where are these Muslims who were mouthing off in the live streams? Oh no, we can so totally own you. You don't know anything. Yeah. Time to show up. Time to own up. Time to step up or step down, boy. Take a pick. You're telling me that I looked scared, that, oh no, I knew that Christianity was false and I was scared. Tell you the truth, if I knew Christianity was false, I wouldn't be following it. I know it's true. But today's topic is not Christianity. Although, again, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life according to his own words. There's no way into heaven except through the blood of the cross. So we must go through the cross in order to get to it. And by his stripes we are redeemed. By his blood we are forgiven. Animal sacrifice has been consistent within Judaism and into Christianity, and Jesus came as the perfect Lamb of God because animals could not pay for the sins of humanity perfectly, where a perfect divine individual could. So God took on human flesh, entered into creation, and chose to lay down his life in order to have the opportunity to get to know you. And I don't care who you are or what you've done in the past. God loves you unconditionally, as a father loves a son. Unconditionally. There is nothing my sons can do to make me stop loving them. I will love them forever, even if there needs to be correction, even if there needs to be discipline. I still never stop loving them. Come on up, buddy. Come on. I'll give you some more time. Come on up. Says you exposing your hypocrisy by questioning you about Christianity. No. Dude, if you want to have a conversation, come on up. You don't need a camera. You just need a microphone. And we can have a call. Hey, we can have a talk. Okay? Here, I'll even make the link just for you. Okay, right there. Right here. Easy, easy, easy. Click the link. You come on in. We have a conversation. Come on, just step on up, boy. No, I'm not having a debate with the chat. I want to have a debate with you in person. Call on up. Come on up so we can actually speak. And we can actually define what you have to say. When Jesus was talking about false prophets, he was referring to Muhammad himself. He was calling Muhammad a false prophet. That's the only place in the Bible you can find Muhammad is as a false prophet. My wife thinks I should do a whole teaching on it at the upcoming Seek and Share Truth conference. I'm not completely sold on it because I think it's more of a sort of like gag thing to teach on. I mean, my most popular video on here is 100% proof that Muhammad is in the Bible, which all it shows is here's Islam, here's Muhammad, here's how he lines up perfectly with what's talked about as being a false prophet, including speaking those in name. Oh, look at that. That's convenient. I don't have a camera or a mic on this computer, so I use chat. No, that's just being cowardly. Most computers have it already built in, bud. And again, I already told you, you don't need a camera. Just come on up and let's have a conversation. If you're not man enough to come up and have a conversation, just admit that you're too cowardly, that you cannot handle it. Because you've been spending this whole time calling me a coward in the chat. And now, once you have the opportunity actually to step up, oh, I just can't do it because I don't have a webcam on this or a microphone on this computer. Buddy, you have a phone. Call in on your phone. Talk on your phone. Guess what? Just to let you know, phones have cameras and microphones. Yeah, I know. It's a shocker. Come on, bud. And I know you're not the only one. I've seen others in the chat saying that they can debunk it, that I don't know what I'm talking about. As soon as I open a live stream, you guys all run. Seriously. And again, I try showing you these references, not because I'm trying to get one up on Muslims or I'm trying to bash Muslims over the head. I'm showing these so you don't blindly go to hell. Because if I was in your place, I'd want someone to tell me the truth. And the truth is, these are part of the sources. And they are there. I gave you all the references. You can look them up. You can read the books yourself. You can see the passages. They are all there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the issue is, not even your Muslim scholars can own up. Your Muslim scholars run when I ask them these questions, as I've already shown. Refuse to answer. Desktop computers don't commonly have it, but they're cheap, they're easy, and guess what? I can bet a pretty penny you have a phone. And the link works on a phone too, bud. So step up, own up, or step down and realize that you have no clue what you're talking about, that you've been here spouting nonsense the entire live stream, not learning from your Muslim scholars whom I pointed to. So I know there's another one on here. I know you weren't the only one. So you and your friend aren't too confident in your ummah after all, huh? You can't deal with these 10 things. I think this is the case in point of what this live stream was, that Muslims struggle with these, that these aren't things that they can easily deal with, as I've already shown. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Fine. Oh, Muslims in the chat, wherefore art thou? Do you have any backbone, or are you too ashamed of Momo? And it's perfectly fine to say, I didn't know about these. Because like I said, before I did a deep dive into the actual sources, I had no clue. The whole animal sex in Islam, I didn't have any clue about that until I started looking into, well, why are these guys over here taking, raping dolphins? Why are they raping dolphins? How could this be okay in Islam? Oh, well, there are a lot of hadith that say, oh, well, there's punishment. There's not punishment. Oh, no. And then you go to the Muslim scholars, and Imam al-Nawawi is very clear saying, hey, you just need to wash afterwards. I clueless about animal sex. Yes. So, again, take those references. Yeah, really low hikmah today. Really low. I mean, down in the dirt. You said, Truth Defender said, I got here late. So what was the list? The list was, number one, Muhammad tried to commit suicide multiple times. The second one was wife beating. Muhammad allowed wife beating and committed it himself. Muhammad married a prepubescent girl called Aisha, who was then continuously raped and penetrated by him until his death. Number four was Muhammad was a white man, which of course leads into number five, because that would be their objections, would be number five, which would be Muhammad was a slave trader. He was a slave owner. He had multiple slaves. He had over 40 slaves. So this is en masse. He had them, which he allowed his companions to have their way with them, to rape them, to enjoy themselves. And he himself raped his own female captives. So then we went ahead and went to number 6, which was the Islamic dilemma, which says, hey, based upon what the Quran actually says, you are heading for severe punishment on the day of resurrection if you don't read and judge by the gospels that we have today. You are going to hell for that, and you will be extremely punished, because if you just take snippets, pieces, and parts of it, well, that doesn't go so well for you. Then we had number 7, which was Allah needs sin. This is where Allah will wipe out people if they were sinless and replace them with sinners who would then repent to him. So he needs that sin in order to give them forgiveness. So Allah is dependent upon others. The problem with that, buddy, is the hadith don't clearly say that. There's hadith that say it, and then there's hadith that say against it. In fact, they're right next to each other in Sahih Muslim. Is this one? It's Sunan Abi Dawood. Yes. Okay. No, it was in correction. Sunan Abi Dawood 4,464 says that there is a punishment. You're supposed to kill him. 4,465 says the opposite. Right afterwards says, oh, nope, there is no prescribed punishment. And again, once we go to the rulings of the scholars, because if you have hadith that contradict each other, obviously you're supposed to go to scholars according to Muslims, right? Well, guess what? We see again that they allow it. And the only thing you have to do is wash in order to be clean, according to the top Muslim scholar on Sahih Muslim. Again, I'm not even sure where he got that. There must be something hidden within the Arabic or something like that, I guess. I don't know. Because I don't get that from the hadith at all. But that's what he said. So that's what the Muslim scholar said. And then I pulled up the fatwas as well as Sharia itself. So there's no question about it. Again, buddy, why are you being a coward about it? You have a phone. Click the link. Join up. Stop using lame excuses for this. So, where are you at? According to Aisha, no, because as I shown in the hadith, according to her own words, Muhammad beat her. And even the woman whose skin was as green as her garment, when Aisha took her to Muhammad, she admitted that there's no one as poorly treated as the people, as the women of Islam, as the believing women. So no, actually, she would agree with me. Thank you very much. She never made a choice to stay with Muhammad. She had no choice in it, because she knew what Muhammad did to people who left Islam, and that is killed them. And guess what? Even today, that is still enforced under Sharia. Is that? And guess what Muslims are about it, according to the Muslim dawas who are out there.
We're proud of that, yeah?
They are very proud of that. And we still have that even today. Modern day debate had to cancel a debate and kick out a debater because he openly threatened an apostate online. He openly threatened him. So, nope. Where does it say not to judge false doctrine? Where does it say not to judge doctrine? No, in the Bible does say not to judge doctrine, but I have advice for you. Read the Bible yourself. Stop using garbage. Stop claiming. let's see. So if you're saying that she made a choice to say, which again, you haven't actually given a reference for, which it's always so much fun when it's like, oh, I'm not even going to give a reference. She was 6 years old. My son is 6. He is not of the capability to make that decision. And if you constantly are the authority, the only authority that could have someone killed for leaving, of course you're not going to leave. Come on. Do a little study in psychology, please. Aisha made a choice. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Again, we went back through the hadith. She was 6 when she was forced into the marriage by her father, who then later her father wanted to screw Muhammad's daughter. And Muhammad said, nah, no. And then gave it to Ali instead. Which I guess that would be an argument, very easy argument for Shia Islam, not Sunni. Yeah, read that verse, buddy. That's not what it says. Come on. Come on. Read it. And it's not a law of Jesus. And also read who wrote that one. Thank you very much. Who was the one who wrote that? And then look at context with the rest of it. Hold on, let me find it. Just like you could find a microphone, boy. Just like you could find a link, boy. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for you to waste my time. Where does it say it struck her? Okay, 1 second. Let me go through my sources. I have so many pulled up. It's not funny. So 1 second here. So it is Sahih Muslim, Hadith 974 is the actual reference. And in it, the Arabic actually does say struck. Oh, I like editing those out. So that would be the reference there. And yes, it is that he struck her or shoved her. Either way, it specifically says, I felt pain. So, again, call on in, buds. This is the last call I'm going to give. After this, we will go ahead and call it quits if no one decides to call in. So either Muslims own up or not. Take a pick. Let's see here. So while we are waiting here, I do have some thanks to give out. Thank you guys so much for joining us as far as the audience goes. Thank you to our members. I'm going to highlight 4 of them because I decided to start doing highlights because there are so many of them. So Alexander, which I think I saw you in here somewhere. Thank you very much for being a member. Anthony Rogers is another one. Another member is Jesus is the only way. And also my friend Gabe, which I think said it won't be able to make it to the conference this year, which would be a great disappointment because I greatly look forward to talking with you there. So here we go. Here they claim. See? Here you go. Gave us the opportunity and we selected Allah and his apostle. No kidding. I already told you why. I'm going to kill you. Hey, kill apostates. Kill apostates. Oh, do you guys want to leave? No. See? It's perfectly. No. On top of that, it's very obvious that if you have someone who has kept you captive, who has forcefully raped you over and over and over again, and only value you see is in their life, well, guess what? That's Stockholm Syndrome. And Jack Ray gave us a wonderful gift here. And literally bought you guys some more time. So now we got a balloon to blow up and pop it because you gave a member. Welcome to whoever gets the membership. Thank you guys for joining the crew. And he gave 10 more. So we'll do this twice. Actually, let me do this. That's one. And then I'm going to do one more for the 10 members. And then we will call it adieu after that. After the party, that is. And we might as well make this big if I can find everything. And I think I can. So therefore, we will make this a big one. Or not. Actually works real well. I like that result. I was hoping the microphone was on for that, so you guys could hear it. So thank you guys so much. It says makes you a liar. No, it doesn't. Again, forcing someone to giving someone a false option again doesn't mean that that is the way it. You still haven't accounted for Stockholm Syndrome. You still haven't accounted for the very fact that if she was said yes, she would have been sentenced to death. As you know, because after all, Muslims are very, very...
And we're proud of that, yeah?
...on the death penalty for apostates. So why on earth would she ever say yes? I'm not making up any lies about Aisha and the Prophet at all. The penalty in Islam for leaving Islam is death. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. Unless you're saying that you don't even know that, which I definitely should have added that to the list. If you don't know that apostates are under a death sentence in Islam. Is that what you're claiming? No one says no. Unless you're trying to say that Paul's a legitimate prophet. He's an apostle. Yeah, I think so. Well, you know what? You're more than welcome to come back to the next one. Maybe next time go get your mic, which will all take 5 seconds. A webcam, which won't take very long. Has a mic already installed in it. Again, you're not required for a webcam. But thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Yep, if I have a gun pointing to your head and I say, make a choice, make a choice, make a choice. If you leave, I'm going to kill you. If you stay, you'll live. What do you think she's going to do? That's very clear. So God bless you all. And again, Muslims, deal with these 10 facts. Deal with the fact that Muhammad beat Aisha. Deal with the fact that Muhammad allows beating of wives. There's no question about that in the sources. Deal with the fact that Muhammad tried to commit suicide multiple times. Your ideal man wanted to kill himself over the revelations that he was getting. What a God to make his prophet want to die. That's fantastic. Deal with the fact that Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl and consummated when she was 9. You got to deal with that. Deal with the fact that Muhammad was white and owned, traded, and treated black slaves as animals. Again, you can find that in the Hadith very clearly. And Muhammad owned over 40 slaves at every given time, and he raped those slaves. Deal with the Islamic dilemma, where the Quran specifically says that the Bible is reliable. The Bible that they had between their hands was reliable. Deal with it. Deal with the fact that Allah needs sins, according to Sahih Muslim 27:40. I had it mismatched. Sorry if I'm going to say the reference. I'm going to get it right. Gosh darn it. Is Sahih Muslim 27:49. Says that Allah needs sin. He cannot function without it because he is not complete upon himself. It says, I'm a false witness against Prophet Muhammad and Aisha. Everything I said is in the sources, bud. Everything I said is in line with the Quran, in line with the Hadith. Very clear. Substitutionary atonement. Christians pay for the sins of Muslims on the day of resurrection. That is Sahih Muslim 27:67. Deal with the fact that there is animal sex. I know you're in denial about that. But yes, there is animal sex allowed in Islam. It's not liked. It's not halal. It is disliked, but it is allowed. It is allowed according to the Muslim scholars, including even Dr. Zakir Naik, which seems to be your guys' go-to. And of course, you can pray to Muhammad as described in the Mutawatir Hadith of the man in need and the blind man. Both of those are extremely reliable Hadith. And the Quran mentions the Injil, the gospel, which is the primary message of the Bible. So if you don't know that, bud, you have never read the Quran. So why did God create Christians to sin? I don't know. According to Islam, all things are Allah's fault. So Allah is behind every action. He guides and misguides as he sees fit. So therefore, he has guided me to Christianity. On top of that is by the deceit, by the mocker of Allah, not Muhammad, although you could use those interchangeably, of the mocker of Allah that has created Christianity. So Allah is the creator of Christianity. Allah is the one who guides me to Christianity. How dare you try to pull me off of the path that Allah has set me on? Jack Ray asked, are pigs allowed for that too? I've actually not seen where it says that pigs aren't allowed. But I didn't specifically search it. So now you're making me question it. I do not want to go down that rabbit hole again. But I don't know. Darn it. Jack, right, why you got to ask the good questions? So now I got to know. Well, considering that it definitely seemed that women are equivalent a lot to animals in a lot of ways. And that humans can be turned into animals back and forth, because you have the story of the Jews being turned into monkeys, I think it was. And of course, I believe pigs as well. So I don't want to know. Let's just say that. I don't want to know about pigs. Thank you very much. You get half a balloon for that one. Okay, you get half a balloon for that. I'm demoting that one. Now you made me think about it, which are things I don't want to think about. So you get half a balloon. Poppy. I am mixed because I love the confetti and it's a lot of fun. But I don't love the topic of that, the comment. Oh, now I can't see. Yes, he does. He misguides you. He specifically misguides you according to the Quran, bud. Read it. He guides whom he wills and misguides whom he wills. Alzoot. I prefer Alzoot over. I prefer the men of Alzoot. I prefer doing that research over the research of the pigs and the sheep and the goats. sent me a video clip. Let me see if I can grab that. I don't know if I have my phone because I normally don't when I do live streams because I don't want to get distracted by it. And things have changed. So I got my personal number, so that doesn't work. So thank you very much. I will have to take a look at that later on. I believe if you want to, you can add the if it's on YouTube already, you can put it into the chat. You're a mod, so you can add links into the chat. So he could put it there for his convenience, because again, fair game. And yes, those poor dolphins are what started me on that venture. Because too many Marys keeps talking. Yes, the Quran says that the human, Dhul Qarnayn, saw the sun setting in a muddy pool, actually found the place. What the Quran actually says is that he found the place that it does do that. It's not a perspective thing. Yes, it actually is setting in there. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say eyes. Seriously, dude, just read it. It doesn't say that it was his eyes who saw it. It didn't say that it was from Dhul Qarnayn's perspective. It says Dhul Qarnayn found the place where the sun sets in a muddy spring. So there we go. So enjoy that one. Have fun with it. I'm not going to look at it. I'm good. Well, actually, I probably still will. I will, because I like being equipped with everything that we have. So again, Muslims, I'm disappointed you guys didn't step up. But I've given you guys over half an hour of an opportunity to step up or step down. And it's obvious. You guys just can't step up. The Ummah is very weak. Very weak indeed. If this is the best they got. It is downright pathetic. So, okay. Until then, God bless. Remember that you are, unlike in Islam, where you are nothing but a slave to Muhammad, to Allah, and in case into Muhammad, because he's actually better than Allah in a lot of ways, according to Islam. You are value in the value you have in Christianity is that of an adopted son. You are incredibly valuable because you're made in the image of God. And the opportunity to have the redemption is right there. All you have to do is accept it. That's where it comes down to. Now they want to know why. Oh, well, I mean, seriously. If you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with Islam. Sorry, there's one more thing here. Because if you have a problem with God creating humans to sin, but in Islam, Allah does create humans to sin. In fact, if they didn't sin, he would just wipe them all out. So let me pull that one up. I don't know why you guys do this. Why do you guys do this? This is so incredibly stupid. I mean, you know, I give you the exact sources. I say, this is where I'm going to go. And then you're too stupid to realize, oh, shoot, he's actually going to do what he says he's going to do. I'm going to try to get a one up because I'm going to say that for some reason, God created people just to send to hell or just to sin, which isn't a Christian concept, by the way, but it is an Islamic one. So let's go ahead and share this instead. So this right here, let me scroll down. So Sahih Muslim 2749. In him, by him, in whose hand is my life. If you were not to commit sin, if you did not commit sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence and would replace you by those people who would commit sin. So Allah wants, Allah needs sin to be committed. Why? Because then he can forgive. Then he can pardon. but he has to have the sin in order to be the most forgiving God out there. Because again, if he's just floating by himself, he can't forgive anyone. He has no relationship. He's a pathetic being all by himself, a worthless, pathetic being. So these people, you buy those people who would commit sin and seek forgiveness from Allah, and he would have pardoned them. So again, this is an Islamic concept, bud. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that God made you sinner. He doesn't. He didn't make humanity a sinner. Humanity's own free will committed rebellion against God, which that rebellion, that division in that relationship, that is sin in Christianity. I know that's an alien concept in Islam, but that's a sin in Christianity. He's welcome to come join me, but he's too much of a coward to do it. So, yeah. Why do you guys all show up now? My gosh, you guys are so weak just 30 seconds ago. Now you guys trying to go debate the Orthodox Muslim. No. You can come here. This is an open call-in. You can come here. Nope, no spamming. Buddy, seriously. It's the fact that you guys cannot deal with it. You guys cannot deal with it, and even those with loud mouths just stay in the chat, whining and crying the entire time. That's all. You scared? No. I'm actually tired at this point. It's a late day. It's been a long day. I've been here waiting for any Muslim to step up, and the Muslims are too cowardly and too weak in their faith to step up. That's the answer. Because they can't deal with it. Says, well, Quran equal Bible, then Hades equal question mark. Well, you should actually have something to be able to fulfill that now, wouldn't you? The fact is, Hades was just referring to hell. So he was just using the term that was common to those people, talking to them with that concept. So there's that. Yeah, the phones suddenly don't work. No, their screens don't work. No, their computer doesn't suddenly work. No, the internet suddenly doesn't work for them, but they can still leave comments. That's the answer. So, thank you guys so much for joining. Appreciate it. I will be back on Saturday with the next live stream, which you guys should be automatically linked to. Actually, I think it will be Sunday. It's not Saturday. It's Sunday this week. Because I already have an obligation for Saturday. So I'll be back on Sunday at 6 p.m. for Father's Day, which we will be talking about the true God. Concept in Christianity versus concept in Islam. So this is the concept of God in general. And actually would answer most of your guys' stupid questions where you guys can't actually even put it together. So thank you guys so much for joining. Again, I even appreciate the Muslims who joined and decided to... Oh my gosh. Seriously. Rebecca was not 3. There's nowhere in the Bible does it say that Rebecca was 3. Nowhere. Seriously. Some idiot, centuries later, decided to make up that garbage. I already did a video on it. Already did a reference on it. Seriously. Just try to actually read the sources yourself. I'm seriously just... I give you guys the references, even the Christians, the references, so you guys can read it yourself, so you can judge yourself. But this is how stupid Islam is. It just expects you to submit without question, without reference. And then you get stupid comments like this, where you show your absolute ignorance. Because again, if a 3-year-old could do what Rebecca did in the story, she would have been superhuman. Because there's no way Rebecca could have done the actions that she did. And with that, Theus vote.